What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you an update to Sharks. So Sharks got some really cool brand new support thanks to Rage of the Abyss. Not only did it get a brand new XYZ in the form of the Drake Levias, but it also got a brand new main deck boss monster in the form of the Surfacing Yugioh as well. Less of a boss monster, just more of a starter, extender, and everything else in between. What I'm going to do at the end of the video as well is I'll also show you a basic one card combo for the deck as well, so you know exactly where to start with it and have as much information as possible if you are looking to pick up this deck, build it, test it online, or just take it to your local environment. This is a relatively pure Shark build. It does have a couple of different water extenders, but that's more so to show you a variety of what you can utilize and what you can use in the deck in order to get it going. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. If you get the video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, I'll try and bring you some more Shark content, whether that be test stands, combos, or of course some duels. So diving headfirst into the profile, we'll start off with the brand new card, and that is the Surfacing Yugioh. So if this card is used for an XYZ summon of a water monster, it can be treated as a free 4 itself or a 5. So it's naturally a 4 anyway, but it can also treat itself as a 3 or a 5, which is amazing for the Shark deck because that's exactly what they want to do. They have a great range of level 3s, 4s and 5s, or rank 3, 4s and 5s in the extra deck, which just makes it so much better when their cards can be treated as those different levels, and it's a nice little gimmick that the deck has. On top of that as well, is you can only use each of the following effects once per turn, and then during the main phase, if a spell card was activated this turn, you get to special summon this card from the hand, but you cannot special summon from the extra deck except XYZs for this turn, which is absolutely fine. If it is normal or special, you get to add a fish shark monster from the deck to the hand. Now it's a shame that it says fish and shark because it means it specifically can't search out XYZ Remora, but that's where the next card comes into play that will be able to do that for you, and that is Abyss Shark. Now this is probably the most expensive card in the main deck for the Shark based deck, and the reason for that is it's only had one print, and that was in Legendary Duelist 9. They're currently like £7, £8 and £9 online. I do advise if you want to be building Sharks, you're going to want to look to pick it up, but I do also expect that it's probably due a reprint at some point. We know it's not going to be in the most recent OTS pack, so maybe it's going to be stuffed into the Bonanza set. Other than that, the best next time that this will get reprinted is probably going to be the early of 2025. So keep that in mind if you do want to be putting this deck together. But this one does justify its price. So this one, again, is if it's used for the XYZ summon of a number monster, it can be treated as a level 3, 4, or of course itself as a number 5. And if all monsters you control are water minimum 1, you get to special summon this card from the hand. And if you do, you get to add a level 3, 4, or 5 fish monster from the deck to the hand except itself. But for the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon monsters except waters, which is exactly what you're going to be doing anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then double the first battle damage that you would inflict your opponent that battles your number monster when it battles another one of your opponent's monsters. So obviously it can't attack directly and do double damage, but if it attacks over one of your opponent's monsters, it will do double damage, which is great success. So it's a searcher, it's extender, and it's a damage increaser, which is why it's so good. Speaking of so good, and I'm actually really happy, I'm pretty sure this got a super print upgrade in OTS 26, I believe we're on, and that is Buzzsaw Shark. This is your best starter. Now, there are two different engines that you can play with this deck. The other one is the Beautiful Princess, and you play 1 for 1. The other one that I'm personally playing, and I'm just going to skip forward a little bit, is the Foolish Burial Goods to Ice Barriers, because this is basically acting as the 1 for 1 and the Beautiful Princess. But the other is that I want to activate a spell card so that I automatically set up my ability to special summon down the Surfacing Yugioh. Of course, this can be a normal summon in general anyway, and you've got more ways to get to Abyss Shark. But on top of that as well, the idea is that this could be your normal summon, and so can your Buzzsaw Sharks. You've got two forms of starters already. You don't really need to clog it down with the Beautiful Princess. And the one thing that the Foolish Burial of Goods into Ice Barrier will get you is the ability to add a water monster from the deck to the hand. So again, just more consistency to get to your starters, which is why it just makes it so much sense. And I'll explain it a little bit more when we get to it. So Buzzsaw Shark, you get to target a water monster you control, including itself, and special summon from the deck in defense a fish monster with the same level as that monster, but with a different name. If you do, it cannot activate its effects this turn, and you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except XYZs, which is exactly what you're going to be doing. And then once per turn, if this card is used for an XYZ summon of a water monster, you could treat it as a level 3, 5, or of course its natural 4. So again, this is the gimmick that the Sharks have, which I think is absolutely amazing for the deck. And it's kind of what you want some of the older ones to be like, but the more modernized ones from Buzzsaw Shark, which came out in Eternity Code, is providing, which is absolutely incredible for the deck, and it kind of gets everything going. The next one that we are playing is Double Lantern Shark. So this one again can technically act as another normal, because if it is normal or special, you get to activate the effect to special summon a level 3, 4 or 5 monster from the hand in defense except itself, but you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except XYZs, and you can only use each effect once per turn. If this card is used for an XYZ summon of a water, again treat it as a 3, natural 4 or of course a 5. So the idea is you could technically go with your Lantern Shark and then normal into Buzzsaw, and what you do need to be very, very careful of, which you'll see with the rest of my build, is that with cards like Buzzsaw Shark, you need to be careful because this gets hit with every hand trap under the sun that I highly expect most people are going to be maining. And there is a card that you can add into the deck called Dominus Impulse. I know it's like £20 to £25 a copy, which is why I haven't included it in the deck, because I've tried to keep the budget to a minimum where at all possible. But if you do have access to that, then that's just another hand trap you can add. But the idea is that with Buzzsaw Shark, you kind of want to be able to put as many extenders on the board anyway, so that if it does get stopped, that's when you're still going to be able to play, and that's where you're going to try and protect with Preview, Crossout Designator, and of course Call by the Grave as well. Then the rest are going to be one of shark monsters, or what I wish is a shark monster, but technically it's not, even though the picture is a shark, is the one XYZ Remora. Now, this one you get to special summon this card from the hand by detaching 2 XYZ materials from monsters you control, and then when you do, you get to target 2 level 4 fish-type monsters in your graveyard and special summon those targets back in face-up defense position. Their effects are negated, they cannot attack or change their battle position, and can't be used for an XYZ summon except for the XYZ of a XYZ of a water monster, which again is exactly what you're going to do. So the idea is you'd go into an XYZ monster that either doesn't need to detach its materials or wants its materials detached, so it can then go into something like an XYZ Armor Fortress. You detach the materials, summon back 2 materials from the graveyard. You can then overlay back into a Bahamut Shark anyway, summon out a Toad so you're protected, and then you can start moving off your plays from that point on. It's a really kind of cool card, and the fact that it can be searched off of the back of the Abyss Shark, because this lets you grab a level 3, 4 or 5 fish monster, whereas unfortunately with the Surface Big Jaw, this one specifically searches you out a fish shark monster. So because this is XYZ Remora and not XYZ Shark, big sad, this one can't search it, but this one can. And it's the reason I'm only playing it at 1 as well, because you don't want to clog down on it too much. The other extenders that I'm playing that are technically going back to sharks is Crystal Shark. So if this is used for the XYZ summon of a number monster, it can be treated again as a 3 or a 4 or its natural 5. And if it is in the hand or graveyard, you get to target a water monster on the field. You special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. But if you use it as overlay material, it doesn't get banished. Keep that in mind. Very important tech that you're going to need to keep in mind of. And you get to special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. And if you do, you halve that monster's attack. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except XYZs, which again, like I've said, that's the only thing you're going to be doing anyway. We've got the one brand new Drake Shark. You can play this at 2 if you want to. I currently only have 1 copy. I am only going to really want to play it at 1 anyway. But this one is a Shark Drake XYZ monster that uses this card as material, gains the following effect. So once per turn you get to detach 2 materials from this card, target a spell or trap on the field, and attach it to this card as material. You can use each of the following effects of Drake Shark once per turn. If this card is added to the hand except by drawing it, so it's basically your own little poplar, you get to special summon this card, but it can be treated as 2 materials from an XYZ summon of a water monster that requires 3 or more materials. So it basically means you can skip past a attribute requirement. The biggest disappointment with this one is it doesn't treat itself as a 3, 4 or a 3, 5 or its natural 4, which kind of disappoints it a little bit, but it's a lot easier to just go, okay, this plus 1 other can get you into, I believe it's the original Shark Drake. The original Shark Drake, which does need 3 level 4s. So it does have intended synergy for the deck, which is really nice, because then you just upgrade into the brand new Shark Drake Levias, but it's just something to keep in mind of. And then the generic extenders that I'm testing out right now is we've got 2 of the Sea Nettle. You could play, what is kind of considered, is you could play 1 Sea Nettle, 1 Silent Angler, and I'm playing the 1 Fishborg Harpooner, but it really is up to you. The idea behind these is just if you control a water monster, special on this card from hand, but you can't special on monsters except waters the turn you activate this effect, which is fine, that's only what you're going to be doing anyway. And you get to banish this card from the graveyard, target 3 water monsters in the graveyard, shuffle them into the deck. So it gives you the recyclability that the Leafless Livefish does, but the Leafless Livefish is specifically when normal summoned, I believe, or when summoned, and then it banishes from the graveyard, puts 3 back and draws 1. Whereas this one was just a nice, like I said, you want to be able to play through any interruptions, or you want to be able to set up something like a Toad Negate before you can get into your normal summon, which is why it helps. The Fishborg Harpooner is just kind of nice because it lets you reveal this card on a water monster in the hand, special on one of them, and discard the other. So it sets you up by putting a shark in the graveyard should you need it, should you want it, but it also gives you that ability to get that level 4 on the board as a nice free extender. And if you wanted to spice up, you could put some Synchros in the deck, but keep in mind when you do make some of your plays, you lock yourself into XYZs, so I just didn't even really want to go down that route of worrying about that lock. It was just what level 4 waters can I use to extend, which can help me get into my rank 4 plays and go on from there. Then moving on to the spell. So I'm playing 2 of the White Mirror. So this one lets you target a level 4 or lower fish in the graveyard and special summon it. And then you get to add a monster from the deck to the hand with the same original name. So that's also where Harpooner can come into play. Because if you open up this plus any water monster and then White Mirror, the idea is that Harpooner can discard like a Buzzsaw Shark, for example. You activate White Mirror, revive the Buzzsaw, and then search out another one. So everything you need. I'm then playing 1 Instant Fusion and 1 Ready Fusion. So I do play 2 targets in the extra deck. I'll quickly show you them now. So for the Ready Fusion, we are playing the 1 Rare Fish, just a level 4 water extender. And for the Instant Fusion, I've gone with Mud Dragon. And the reason for that is if I do open up both of these, I can still successfully summon 2. It does take up that slot in the extra deck, so you might want to consider cutting one out. But what I did like about the Mud Dragon is that if I do Instant Fusion out the Mud Dragon, it basically means all of my waters can't be targeted. So I now no longer need to worry about Imperms, Veilers, or any other targeted effects, which is really quite helpful. Obviously, it'll only come up sometimes, but like I've said with this build, what you want to try and do is you want to try and work your way into a Bahamut Shark without needing to use your normal summon, which then means it gets you a Toad before you even conduct your normal summon, putting your opponent in a position of, oh damn, they've got a Toad, I can Nibiru them, but Toad's probably just going to negate it, and they still haven't even used their normal summon. Or they're in a position to make a Toad, they haven't used their normal summon, I can Nibiru them now, but they still have their normal summon to keep going. So it's a really kind of cool option, which is why I do like playing these, because these are the only single cards, in my opinion, on their own that don't require anything else on the board that give you a free extender. Now, what I mean by that is you'll still need another monster to go off it, but if you were to normal summon a monster and they destroyed it, for example, then you're not going to be able to extend any further. But if you go Instant Fusion and then get another monster on the board and you don't activate any effects, you just go, cool, overlay and off you go, you're still kind of putting them in a position without really conducting too much to the board. But the ideal scenario is you go Instant Fusion and then activate an extender like the Sea Nettle, and then you go, okay, cool, overlay into Shark, detach off a Shark, get me Toad, and then straight away they're like, oh, you've got a Toad negate, and you haven't even used your normal summon, and you go normal summon Buzzsaw Shark, and you're like, yeah, cool, you imper me, you Veil me, I'm going to negate it, and I'm good to go off. Then the last of the spells, or before we get to the Foolish Burial Goods, which I've already shown you, is the brand new Reincarnation Unveiling Male. So it's always treated as a Armoured XYZ card, which means you can search it off the back of your Armoured Fortress. Really, really good success. But this one, you equip it to an XYZ monster, and it can't be destroyed by battle. And then once per turn, if it battles this turn, you get a quick effect to return one card equipped to this card to the hand, and then immediately after this effect resolves, XYZ summon 1 water XYZ. Once per turn, during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you get to equip this card to an XYZ you control. You can only activate 1 per turn. The other is that this is searchable, and then when you activate it, straight away you're activating a spell that sets up your Surfacing Big Jaws, and then of course you can loop it round. You can cut it completely if you want to, but I just quite like the idea. Like I said, I want to try and play as many spells that are going to help the deck out, as well as set up the Big Jaw play, but it's entirely up to you if you want to do that one. Speaking of the card that's going to set you up your Big Jaws, obviously triple Foolish Burial of Goods, which is ideally only going to send the Ice Barrier. Yes, it does mean that your remaining 2 copies of your Foolish Burial Goods are going to be dead, so it is the risk and reward of that one. But the idea is that when you get to send the Ice Barrier, you get to banish this card from the graveyard, send a level 5 or higher from the deck to the grave, and again, that's where your synergy is going to come into play, because you will actually be able to, and I believe it's in this pile here, you'll actually be able to Foolish Burial your Crystal Shark, and then off of the back of this you get to add a level 5 or higher water monster from the deck to the hand, but then of course you then get to add a Abyss Shark. But what you do need to remember is until the end of the next turn, after this threat resolves, you can't special on monsters except waters, which is exactly what you're going to do anyway. But the idea is that just off of a Foolish Burial of Goods, I've set up a Crystal Shark in the graveyard, which is going to act as a free extender as long as I can get a water monster to the board. I've then got the ability to search out a starter in Buzzsaw, or of course Surfacing Big Jaws. If I search out Surfacing Big Jaws, I've already activated a spell card, so I can special summon it down and then search out a Buzzsaw, which is my starter. Or, of course, I just go straight for an Abyss Shark, special summon down the Abyss Shark as long as I can get a water to the board, which will use up your normal summon. And then you've got Abyss Shark going off. You can then trigger off the Crystal Shark to bring it back from the graveyard. Your Abyss Shark is going to be able to search you one. So you're just being able to go round and round and round. And again, because you've used the spell, you then unlock your Surfacing Big Jaws. Or, of course, you search out your Remora and you're good to push your plays further forward. So I liked it with that kind of interaction just because of how many things it ticks off with your one-offs. And I thought it worked out quite nicely. The last 2 we're playing is the 1 Full Armoured XYZ. Honestly, I might consider putting Gozen in rather than main in the Full Armoured XYZ. Yes, the Full Armoured XYZ is very helpful, but I feel it's only helpful if you're guaranteed to go first. Whereas what I like about Gozen match is if you do see it, obviously this is searchable and the Gozen match isn't. If you do see the Gozen match, you flip that, you can do that turn 1, turn 2, and you can lock your opponent down into waters, especially if you're going to set yourself up with, wherever it may be, your number 4 Stealth Kraken. And then, of course, the last track we're playing is the brand new Virtue Stream. So this one is actually searchable off of one of the brand new rank 3s, which I currently don't own. I thought I did, but I ended up picking up 2 of the Shark Drake instead. Big sad. But I'll be able to pick that up at locals anyway. So this one lets you target a fish, C7 or aqua monster you control and 2 cards your opponent controls and you destroy them. You can banish it from the graveyard to target a face-up monster on the field, and if it is a water monster, the next time it will be destroyed by card effect. This turn it is not destroyed. If it is not, it becomes water, so again it kind of gives you a nice little way. Now, is this one, is it target any water? Target a face-up monster on the field. So that's pretty funny because you can target one of your opponent's monsters, turn it into water, and then if they are under goes, and that's quite funny. But a little bit of a niche interaction there. And then for the hand traps, I kind of went with ones that are going to be the most effective without breaking the bank, and ones that are quite damaging towards you. So the ones that I went with is Ash Blossom, 1 Veiler, 1 Droll and Pass, 1 Nibiru, and then triple Imperm. And the reason I've gone with a range of one-offs is because I am playing triple Crossout Designator. Now, you don't have to play this, it's entirely up to you. You can put in 3 more hand traps if you want. But the way that I looked at it is that Imperm, Veiler, Droll, Nibiru, Ash, if I don't set up protection before the Nibiru, these are all damaging cards to the combo. And I was like, I've got the space to do it. And what I did like the idea of is if my opponent did hand trap me and I chained Crossout Designator, straight away it set up my big jaws. So not only did I protect the card that was being hand trapped, it then set up my big jaws, which I thought was kind of an interesting interaction. And the last card, obviously, Called by the Grave. So you have flexibility on the deck. As you can see, the hand trap lineup is relatively small. It still takes up like a quarter of the deck, but you can change this around if you want to. You can cut them out completely if you want to. Go for an OTK version of the deck, but I feel that you're better set by going for a go first defensive version of the deck, but it can be done. So that's it for the main deck. Now moving on to the extra deck. So I've already shown you the 2 instant fusion and ready fusion targets in the form of the rare fish and the mud dragon. The other cards that we are playing are all going to be XYZs. Now obviously the idea behind these is that you're going to use your instant fusion as your first card you play. So all of your locks are not an issue, and they're both water monsters, so it's not an issue. Keep that in mind. So let's start with our rank 3s. No, rank 3, sorry. Yeah, the only rank 3 you should be playing, get my head straight, is the Leviathan Dragon. Not Leviathan Dragon. Is the, now bear me 2 seconds because I told you this is the one that I don't own, is the Virtue Dragon. Now the Virtue Dragon, once I get the text out, it basically just searches you off the trap card, which is really, really important. But the fact of the matter is I just didn't pick it up at locals, which was a big stupid thing of me to do. So if this card is special summoned, you get to add a Virtue Stream from the deck to the hand. You can activate one of these effects. Detach an XYZ material from a monster you control, and then add a fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster from the graveyard to the hand except itself. Target 2 XYZ monsters on the field, detach 1 material from one of them, and attach it to the other as material. You can only use each effect once per turn. So again, it's quite nice because it then means it lets you transfer your materials to a different XYZ, and then you get to upgrade that with some of your cards, because a lot of your cards say if it doesn't have XYZ material, rank up. Now, I currently don't own that card. Like I said, I will very easily pick that up at locals. I just completely forgot. The one that I've put in at the moment is the Valiant Shark Lancer, but it's something that I might change around a little bit later on. So this one is generic as 2 level 5 monsters. You get to target a monster your opponent controls, detach a material from an XYZ you control, and if you do, destroy that monster. It's a quick effect if you control another water XYZ, which you should do by the time you make this card. And then if another water XYZ monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, while you control this monster, you can take a spell from your deck and place it on the top of the deck. So again, it just lets you search out spell cards. So you can search out Extender for the next turn. It's really not necessary. This, like I said, this is basically the Virtue Dragon, so keep that in mind. So moving on to our rank 4s, let's go through Bahamut Shark first as well. So 2 Bahamut Shark, like even more broken in this deck because this one has so many more. So this lets you detach a material, especially on a rank 3 or lower water XYZ from the extra deck. It cannot attack for the rest of the turn, but so your shark cannot attack for the rest of the turn. But the idea is you're just going to be doing this to spawn out totally awesome. Like, I mean, pretty standard on this one. This is your negate, this is your protect from Nibiru. All decks right now, unfortunately, because Nibiru is running around and no longer Appaloosa exists, like this is your way of protecting your stuff. Carrying on as well, we do play the small package of the 1 Stealth Kraken plus your 1 Stealth Kraken spawn, but again, you can cut the spawn if you want to keep in the Lancer, you've got a little bit of flexibility there. We're then, of course, playing the 1 number 32 Shark Drake, which is a lot easier to get into now, and then, of course, your Shark Drake Levias. So this one, again, more times than not, you're probably going to be using it by ranking up on top of the Shark Drake, but it also XYZ summon this card by discarding 1 spell and using a rank 4 Shark Drake, specifically XYZ you control as material. Transfer its materials to this card. And then you get a quick effect to detach material from this card, target an effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, and if you do, its attack becomes 0. This card can make a second attack during each battle phase, and if it attacks the defense fission monster, inflict piercing battle damage. So remember what I said about, which one was it? Abyss Shark. So Abyss Shark, as long as it goes onto a number monster, it gives it double. The first battle damage it does is doubled, so it'll be on a number monster anyway. Because ideally you can use this to go into Shark Drake. So Abyss Shark plus the Shark Drake in the main deck goes into Shark Drake, and then you discard a spell and rank this on top, and then this will have those effects of the Abyss Shark, which is quite nice. I believe. Is it the first XYZ? Let me just double check that one. For the rest of this turn, you cannot specifically set wars. Also double the first battle on your fleet opponent by this turn by your number monster battling another monster. Yeah, so. And then, of course, we've got the one Abyss Dweller, just insane in water decks, even more so. And then I've got the one full-armoured Utopic Ray Lancer. So this one, again, requires 3 level 4 monsters, so it's another way that you can use the Shark Drake in the main deck to go into it. But once per turn, you get to also XYZ full-armour Utopia Ray Lancer by discarding a spell or trap, and then using a rank 4 or lower XYZ you control, transfer its materials to this card. Monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack, and then at the start of the battle phase, you get to negate the effects of all attack position monsters your opponent currently controls. When this attacking card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, detach material, and it can make a second attack in a row, which is really, really cool. And the last two we're playing is the Armored Fortress and, of course, the Full Armoured Dark Knight Lancer. So pretty standard on this one. This gets to rank on top of a rank 3 or 4 XYZ you control that has no... you can transfer its materials to it, but it cannot be used as material for an XYZ summon while this card has material. So the idea is you want to get rid of all materials from it, and then you have the ability to rank it up into something like your Full Armoured Dark Lancer, which is really important, because this one lets you XYZ summon Full Armoured Dark Lancer by using a rank 5 or 6 you control, transfer the materials to it, but obviously you can't use this as XYZ material while it has materials on it. So hopefully that made sense. I kind of went around a little bit of a circle for that one. And that's pretty much it for the profile. Like I said, the only thing that I'm missing is the Virtue Dragon, and that just gives you access to your trap card, and then it gives you a rank 3 that doesn't have its materials, which is then how you're going to work your way up into your XYZ full armor, obviously your Armor Fortress, sorry, and then go into your full armor, while also searching out an XYZ trap card, or of course another XYZ spell that you might want. So that's it for the entire profile. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a very basic 1-card combo to get you started with this deck, so you can see where you start with the deck and how you finish. So I'll be back in a second. So I'm going to show you the very basic 1-card combo that will protect you from Nib. Now this combo can evolve and go even further just off of the back of the Buzzsaw Shark, depending on the build that you have gone with. But I'm going to show you a build that protects you from the Bureau early doors. And the best thing about this is you're still going to have 4 more cards in the hand. So if they do interact with your Buzzsaw Shark and any of these are a free extender, you'll do the exact same outcome anyway. So you're going to start off by normal summoning a Buzzsaw Shark. You can use this effect target itself to summon out the surfacing Big Jaws. Overlay both of these into a Bahamut Shark. Use Bahamut Shark's effect, detaching the material to summon out your Totally Awesome. Then what you're going to do is you're going to rank on top the Bahamut Shark into the XYZ Armor Fortress. And then you use Armor Fortress's effect, detaching 2 to grab you 2 XYZ cards in the form of the Armored XYZ and, of course, your Reincarnation, which is always treated as an Armored XYZ card. You're then going to be able to equip the Armored XYZ to your Totally Awesome, and then you're going to set the full Armor XYZ. You're still going to have 4 more cards in the hand, so whether these be hand traps or whether they just be extenders, you'll be able to adapt this combo as you see fit. But the idea is at the very least, just a Buzzsaw like that, you get to extend during your opponent's turn. You'll activate the full armor, you'll rank on top into a Dark Knight Lancer, you'll then be able to banish the full armor from the graveyard to equip Bahamut Shark, and then of course you'll trigger the full armored Lancer to steal one of your opponent's monsters, and you still have the Totally Awesome effect to tribute itself off to negate, and if they were to activate something that you can steal, by all means, go and steal it. On top of that as well, it will allow you to recycle itself, which is really, really important. Just keep in mind it only lets you recycle Aqua, Big Sad, and these are fish. But the idea is you've still got 4 more cards to play with. Like I said, this is just going to be the most baseline combo that you could possibly do with this deck. And then depending on what else you put on the extra deck, if you put in another extender to the board, into the extra deck, sorry, that you can rank on top of the brand new Leviathan, that will then allow you to go a little bit further. But I'll show you that combo once I do get that at locals, hopefully this weekend. And then you'll be able to see everything in one go. So that's it for the entire profile. Any questions at all, by all means, please put in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. But for now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.